Hello, hi, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Heather Corinne, and today we're going to be crocheting this bulky thermal stitch hot pad or pot holder. I'll post a list of materials and stitches we'll be using in the description below, as well as a link to my blog post where I've typed the whole pattern out for you. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot to be able to create these free tutorials for you like this one. So thank you so much. Let's get started.
Today we'll be using Yarn Bee Cotton XXL, but really it just needs to be a bulky weight number 5 yarn in cotton. I picked this up from my local Hobby Lobby and we need approximately 50 yards. I would suggest getting more than one skein just in case, and I will explain later why I recommend that. I love these hot pads because not only do they have a minimalist look, but they're also extra thick with this thermal stitch, and so they protect your counters and tables perfectly. So let's begin. We're going to begin by using a size K crochet hook and chaining 19 chain stitches. For row 1, we're going to single crochet in each stitch, but it's going to be in the back bump of the chain instead of the front side where you would traditionally crochet. So flipping it upside down, we'll insert the hook into that single back bump on the chain and begin single crocheting. We'll single crochet in each stitch across for a total of 18 stitches for row 1. I'll admit crocheting in the back bump of the chain is really challenging for me because I'm so used to crocheting in the front side through that top loop, but it does create a much better end for this pattern to have those double loops there available to create the thermal stitch, which we are about to do, which makes our hot pad so much thicker and more durable. So that's why we're crocheting in the back bumps only. When we get to the end of row 1, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work around. So here's our last stitch. We're chaining 1 and turning around. So here is the thermal stitch, which is very fun and quick to make. So we're going to insert the hook in the back loop only of where we would traditionally crochet, but then we're going to drop down and pick up that extra loop on the row below and single crochet, and that's how you do a thermal stitch. So back loop only, and then drop down to the row below and pick up that extra stitch, which is also the back loop only of the previous row. So we're going to continue on just like this, and the beginning is most challenging for me. I find that rows 4 and onward are much easier once you've got that nice foundation set. So just bear with it until you get to row 4, and I will catch you back at the end of row 2 to show you how to move on to row 3. There'll be a total of 18 stitches, so make sure to keep your stitch count so that you don't lose your place. And that is it for row 2 and the thermal stitch. Here we are coming up on the end of row 2. We're going to chain 1, and I'm just going to quickly count and make sure we still have a stitch count of 18, so we keep those straight edges. And then we're going to turn the work around to continue on our thermal stitch for row 3. Continuing on with that thermal stitch, we're going to go through the back loop only, and then directly below that stitch we're going to pick up the second loop and single crochet. So back loop only, drop down below, pick up that extra stitch, and single crochet. And we'll continue on like this until the end of row 3, keeping our stitch count at 18 stitches. Here we are at the end of round 3. We're going to chain 1 and turn around. And round 4, like I said, is where it gets easier to see where that second loop is. So you can see there's kind of a ridge on the back side. So once we've gone through that back stitch only on the top, it's easy to see where we're going to pick up that second loop from the row below and continue on single crocheting that thermal stitch until we get to the end of row 27. If only I could crochet this quickly in real life, that would be something super special. As you can see, I start putting stitch markers in the first stitch of each row to keep up with how many rows I've completed, so then I'll know when I get to the end of row 27. So here we are at the end of row 27. I'm just going to pop out all of these stitch markers. These are my absolute favorite interlocking stitch markers. I'll link them down below for you. They come in this cute little container full of all different colors. I like these locking ones because then you don't lose your place as easily as the ones that tend to fall out. So once I've done popping all of these out, I'm going to show you how to finish this off with row 28. For our last row, row 28, we're going to go through both loops instead of just the back loop only like we've been doing. So we're going to go through both of them and pick up that stitch below to sort of give this a finished off edge so it won't be leaving that ridge once we're done. So both loops and then the back loop as well. So it's still a thermal stitch, but it is like an ending row of the thermal stitch. So here I am coming up on the end of row 28, and you can see why I recommended getting an extra skein of yarn for this project. I don't have enough left to finish off this piece, which is a little frustrating because I made one prior to this in the exact same way, and I had plenty left to finish this row and add the little hook on the end. So I just recommend getting an extra skein no matter what project you're working on if you think you're going to potentially use all of it. So what I'm going to do is unravel this row, which was row 28, and I'm also going to unravel row 27. And I'm going to show you row 28 in place of row 27, just so I can show you how to finish this piece off without going to the store to buy another skein of this yarn. So I'm going to repeat the same steps that I just showed you for row 28. Here we are coming up on the end of row 28, or the end of our project. We're going to chain 9 chain stitches at the end of this corner to give us a little hook to hang our hot pad with. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm going to slip stitch right back into that same corner stitch to join the hook onto our hot pad, followed by a chain 1 stitch to complete this project. So once we've done this chain 1, we're going to pull through that chain 1 to secure. Next, we're going to trim off any excess and take our tapestry needle and weave in these loose ends. My favorite way to weave in loose ends is to run it through a couple of stitches and then turn it around and run it back through those same stitches, only skipping one at the beginning and then trimming the yarn off. And then it never comes unraveled and you can't see where you wove it in. And here we have our finished hot pad.
I hope you have enjoyed creating with me today. Please give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. I'll see you very soon, and thanks for watching.